Okay, I made my stop at the store, so I'm going to continue on as a separate video talking about stepkids, unconditional love, la la la. Where does the concept of unconditional love even come from? It's got to be, it has to be a female mindset that came up with this one, because basically, since I'm to love you unconditionally, you don't have to do anything to earn my love. It's a fallacy, it's a fantasy, it's not even evolutionary, doesn't make any evolutionary sense other than maybe a mother's unconditional love for their child, but even that will change with time. You can do some ethereal, oh, I still love them. Well, I can say that about a lot of things. I still love them. What it means is I hope no harm comes to those people. But unconditional love is kind of, it's a fantasy. And we need to make sure that we do not adhere to that too closely. I'm popping a lot of bubbles here. All 2 or 3 of you that will ever see this video, bubble pop. My guess is you already knew that. Now on to the stepkids again. I'm sure you've heard the saying, blood is thicker than water. There's a reason for that. What it's really saying is that your DNA is going to overpower any affection you have towards somebody who you're not genetically related to. And that's the way it is with stepkids. It just is that way. Their dad, as I was saying before, was a pretty good guy. And, he was part of the family. I mean, part of the kids' lives. And this guy's in the middle of the road. There's a lot of kooky people out there. Anyway, and I'm probably one of them. Anyway, he was a good guy. He was part of their lives. I mean, he took them on weekends. He took them on vacations, all that other stuff, which I was happy for. I mean, I did have to base my life and holidays and stuff around other people, but you're going to do that anyway. I mean, when my stepson got married, his wife became the dominant figure in our lives, and it's just the way it goes until you become a single man and choose not to allow other people to dominate your life. That's how life is. But their loyalty is always going to be to that other man, as it should be, as nature, evolution designed it. You need to take care of your own evolutionary, your own DNA, even though in 20 years, 20 generations from now, it'll basically be gone, so don't get too uptight over it. I'll tell you what, if you are not sure if you want kids, but you're sure you don't want to get married, and you got a brother or sister who's popped out a few kids, hey, your DNA obligation to the next generation is covered. Doesn't necessarily fulfill that desire in you to have your own children and do the whole child rearing thing, but at least your bases have been covered genetically, and so you will continue on some level into the next generation, if in fact that's something you care about. At this stage of the game, I don't. Stepkids, you can have a good time with them. You can have a decent relationship with them. As long as you're submissive to their mother, it'll stay a good relationship. The minute you start kind of standing up for yourself and wanting to be masculine again, then it's not going to work out too well. Might ask, I'm trying to wrap this up real quick and cover all these bases. Do I miss the stepkids? To be honest with you, not really. It's when you find out that you are not really loved by somebody else, that you really weren't, the term is stepfather, and father carries with it a lot of, or stepdad. These two terms come with some, with a lot of powerful emotions. Father, dad, papa, which is what my grandkids, great step-grandkids call me. These things have a lot of power, but there is no real authority behind that power. And I don't mean power that you can dominate other people. I mean, emotional power, that they touch you at a deep level. And it's just not the case, okay? Step parent really means you're the guy who married mom. That's it. I was the man who married their mother. Did they like me? Yeah, they liked me okay. I mean, did we ever have disagreements? And they probably didn't like me? Sure. If they could wave a magic wand and have their parents back together, would they have chosen that? Yeah, And after a while of being married, I wish I had that magic wand, because I would have waved it and put her ass back with him too. But it didn't happen that way. So just don't get deceived by the whole step-kid thing. They are very conditional. And if those conditions change, the relationship will inevitably, it has to, it will change too. Because it's built upon kind of an unnatural, it's not kind of unnatural, raising another man's kids is unnatural. That, you don't see that in nature. Follow? You see that among human beings, and you see a shitload of that in the last 50 to 100 years. Did men take on widows and their kids in the past? Why, sure they did. Did widowed women, or did women who's widowed, and women married widowed men? Okay, there you go. I'm trying to spit it out. These are not scripted, if you haven't noticed. So, yeah, this happens. It's not brand new, but it is not the norm. The norm is that we raise our own damn children. I stepped right into that freaking dumpster fire, and that's was my own doing. Everything you can say is, this was my own doing. I did this to myself. But do I miss the step kids? No, I don't. I really don't. Do I miss the step grandchildren? Initially, yeah, and I would have liked to keep that going. But in the end, you know what? Those aren't my grandkids either. And don't fool yourself. I got one of my dearest friends has been married to a woman, raised her kids, all that kind of stuff. He really believes that those are his kids and his grandkids, and I'm glad for him, because he needs to stay in that blue-pilled world. It would just devastate him to wake up to reality. But the truth is, if something were to happen, I mean, even if it's something that he has like no control over, like maybe his wife passes before him, he'll realize very quickly, those are not his fucking kids. Those are not his grandkids. And God forbid, he goes through a divorce, or she decides to divorce him, he'll find out real quick that those are not his kids or his grandkids. Just the way it is, guys. So, I'm not going to tell you don't marry a woman with kids. I am going to say that, but I'm going to kind of hold back. But if you do, go into it with your eyes wide open, because those aren't your kids, and they won't even be your kids. And you might think, well, then I'll impregnate my wife and we'll have a kid together. Great. That new kid's not going to be their brother either, or their sister. It's going to be their half-brother or half-sister, and they will, in fact, refer to them that way. Anyway, that's really all I got to say about stepkids. It's a rough go. You get over it. You get over it. So, I'll talk to you later. Remember, life is hard. Don't make it any harder than it has to be.